With the Ashes looming large, I wanted to revisit some of the most iconic performances we've seen over the past few decades.
If not the greatest Test match innings ever played.
And it is one of the most fantastic victories ever known. Gatting has absolutely no idea what has happened to it.
Well, that has turned about 2.5 feet. Gatting can't believe his eyes.
He joins an elite group of Australians who have done that.
That's it, and it's Kevin Peterson's first Test 100.
And whips it well. Kawaja, the comeback kid. Mitch Johnson on fire.
So I picked a few of my favorite individual performances, and in today's video, we'll have a look at 7 of them, in no particular order. The first performance is one of the greatest individual efforts in Ashes history, and it comes via Sir Ian Botham, a man for the big occasion. The year is 1981, and the venue is Leeds, and it's the third test of the Ashes. England are down 1-0 in the series, and they've just been bowled out for 174 in their first innings, after Australia had put up 401 in their first innings, an innings in which Botham had taken 6 wickets.
That's it this time. He's made sure he's taken.
Additionally, Botham easily top-scored in England's first innings with a 50, so he'd already had a great game up to this point, but he wasn't finished yet. In fact, he was far from it. England was sent back in to follow on, with odds of 1 to 500 of winning the match, and again, their top 6 had capitulated, with no batter reaching 50. The Australians would have had their eyes set on an innings victory, with the last obstacle in their path the figure of Botham walking out to bat. Botham strode out to bat with his side 5 down, into a cauldron of fire. He was up against the likes of Dennis Lillee and Terry Alderman with their tails up. Botham would go on to play one of the great innings built on a foundation of counter-attacking stroke play as he blasted his way to 149 not out of 148 balls.
And he's got the single he wanted. And 145 not out he came. It has been a phenomenal innings.
And it was enough to force Australia to bat again, where they were unceremoniously dismantled by Bob Willis, who deserves an honourable mention for his performance of 8 wickets for 43 runs.
Bowl him. It's all over. Bob Willis, 8 wickets. A fabulous performance.
Botham went on to claim the Player of the Match award after claiming 7 wickets in the match and scoring 200 runs. His innings changed the course of the entire Ashes series in 1981.
And it is one of the most fantastic victories ever known in Test cricket history.
And England went on to win the series 3-1 thereafter. Next performance comes from one of the greatest players of all time in my opinion, a man who played the game hard, gave it everything he had and entertained one and all, Shane Warne. The 2005 Ashes is remembered as the series England finally won back the urn, but what often gets overlooked is that Warne almost won it single-handedly.
That's the real art of leg spinning.
At 35 years of age, bowling marathon spells on flat decks, he was relentless, finishing the series with 40 wickets, 16 more than the next best bowler in the entire series. He outbowled batters session after session, and every time Australia needed a breakthrough, it was Warne who dragged them back into the contest.
That's the end of that. Shane Warne.
His battle with Kevin Peterson became a mini-series within a series, pure theatre.
There it is, the battle's over.
And even with the ball of the century tag already attached to him,
Gatting has absolutely no idea what has happened to it.
Well, that has turned about 2.5 feet. Gatting can't believe his eyes.
he still produced another magic one to Andrew Strauss.
How about that? Absolutely brilliant from Shane Warne.
Australia had lost the series, but Warne was still the man of the moment and the most dominant individual across both teams, carrying Australia's hopes deeper into the final day than they ever should have survived. Because with Warne, there was always the belief he would win the match.
I bowled him. That's the end of that. Shane Warne.
Time away from the top level usually hinders players, but this was not the case when Steve Smith returned from his ban after the Sandpaper Gate scandal. The stage is set at Fortress Edgbaston when Australia are 122 for 8 in their first innings of the 2019 Ashes for Steve Smith to do what he'd done for Australia so often in the past and rescue them. After walking out to receptions of boos and with great speculation over his form, Smith reminded the world of just how good he was in the game's longest format.
Through the covers! His first test back after the ban and its normal service resumes.
Scoring 144 to guide Australia to 284. In the second innings, Smith smashed a second 100 in the match, anchoring Australia's innings with 142. finishing the game with twin hundreds and propelling himself to greater heights than anyone could have imagined.
Driven away, back-to-back hundreds in the same test match. He joins an elite group of Australians who have done that.
As he finished the series with 774 runs in only 7 innings at 110 apiece. It was an emphatic way to announce his return to the international stage, fighting back through a difficult personal period to deliver clutch innings after clutch innings en route to helping Australia retain their own.
Only 4 others in Ashes tests. Redemption is well and truly complete.
Left arm quicks seem to have the ability to bowl both miracle spells of pace and swing and uproot batter stumps, as well as erratic spells of buffet balls where no 2 deliveries seem to land in the same spot. No one embodied this more so than Mitchell Johnson, but on his day, Johnson could rip through the very best batters with pace and swing built on a foundation of aggression and hostility. And in 2013, it was this version of Mitchell Johnson who pulled on the baggy green to play the Ashes.
Smash the middle stump. Mitch Johnson on fire.
The 2013-2014 Ashes was Johnson at his most terrifying. Moustache, snarl and thunderbolts north of 150 clicks, bowling with a kind of personal vendetta that seemed aimed at every English batter who dared stand in front of him. This wasn't just fast bowling, it was psychological demolition, as he had every batter hopping, fending, backing away and looking like they'd rather be somewhere else. He finished the series with 37 wickets, but that number doesn't tell the true story because he'd mentally beaten the English batsmen before they even faced a ball, which helped Australia whitewash England 5-0. Moving on to the next performance, I've watched the Hollies erupt in the background with Stokes pumping his arms in celebration at least 30 times, and I'm sure you have too, because you simply cannot talk about Ashes heroics without talking about Ben Stokes at Headingley in 2019.
He's put everything into this, Ben Stokes.
So here we go again. England were chasing 359 and looked dead and buried at 286 for 9, and they could feel the Ashes slipping through their hands. And then, Stokes produced one of the greatest 4th innings knocks the sport has ever seen. He began in survival mode and then exploded into calculated violence.
He's done it. Incredible.
Well, this guy is a freak.
Reverse sweeping Nathan Lyon into submission and bullying Australia's attack into panic.
And he's got again. Ben Stokes, you beauty.
The partnership with Jack Leach has gone down in history and has been written into folklore. One man scoring the runs, the other holding the torch, and somehow, someway, England got home. Stokes didn't just save a test, he kept the test series alive, and he did it with absolute defiance against an Australian side already popping the champagne.
2 are needed to win the test match. 1 to tie the scores.
It remains the most clutch Ashes innings of the modern era.
One of, if not the greatest test match innings ever played.
Every great Ashes series needs a defining moment where someone refuses to blink, and in 2005, that moment belonged to Kevin Pietersen. Under outrageous pressure, Australia sensing a late twist, wickets falling all around him, and the urn still not safe, a young Kevin Pietersen walked out to bat with a bright yellow mohawk and an equally bold temperament.
But it's gone a long, long way again.
KP played the innings that finally sealed the deal and shot his career into the stratosphere. He took on Shane Warne and Brett Lee head-on, not with caution but with authority, punching back when England desperately needed someone to wrest the momentum.
That's it, and it's Kevin Pietersen's first test 100.
His 158 broke the back of the game and handed England the upper hand. It was a statement innings that marked the moment the Ashes officially passed hands for the first time in 18 years.
Bowled him. Finally, the fantastic knock by Kevin Pietersen comes to an end.
What a great one. It comes to an end.
We've gotten through 6 amazing performances, so I thought I'd share some of my favourite honourable mentions in rapid succession. Ashton Agar's ridiculous 98 on debut at number 11 in 2013.
Set the highest 10th wicket partnership in Test history when Agar pulled broad for 3.
Turning a collapse into a lead and almost rewriting the record books in his very first Test.
Next, Agar overtook Tino Best for the highest score by number 11 in Test cricket.
Usman Khawaja returning after more than 2 years out and gliding to 141 and 56 not out in Sydney in 2022, batting with the calmness of a man who's never really been gone.
And whips it well. Khawaja, the comeback kid.
Alistair Cook's monumental 235 not out at the Gabba in 2010-11, a statement innings that broke Australia mentally from the opening test of that series.
All fastball down the leg side, and Alistair Cook raise your bat proudly.
There's also Andrew Flintoff's 7 for 52 at Lords in 2009. A final great spell of hostility and heart that ripped through Australia and reminded everyone what peak Flintoff looked like when he locked in.
Can't leave those alone. And Flintoff is triumphant there. Look at him.
As the Ashes is one of cricket's greatest spectacles and one of the true few modern rivalries remaining, there have been many great moments and individual performances produced. We've gotten through some of them here in this video, but if you felt like we've missed one, share it in the comments, I'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more Ashes content coming soon.